Okay, density is still the same. Tank level in the lecture note is H, right? A is still the same. I forgot to put the R, but I show you R is actually the resistance of the tank. Alright. I also give you J naught equal to L divided by R. In your lecture notes, the JO here is Q naught equal to H divided by R. Okay? Which means that the outflow equal to tank level divided by R. Alright, you need to know this. And you need to prove that L divided by J had this what we call it open loop transfer function, or sometimes we call it first order transfer function. Okay? And of course we said K and tau is actually gain and time constant. So this K is equal to R after you manage to arrange everything. Alright, so to start, you all should do this. Okay, how many of you really do this? Let me show you. Mass in minus mass out equal to mass accumulation. What is mass in? Mass in is the flow rate multiplied density, right? What is the flow rate go into the tank? It's Ji, right? Multiply minus the flow rate come out is Jo. This is density equal to density times accumulation. What is the tank volume? Volume is A multiply L dt, right? So this is your first equation that you need to come out. Of course, density all the same, so I cancel. I have this first equation. Okay? So the mass balance tell me that flow rate in minus flow rate out equal to the tank level change. Alright? Okay? This is first step. And because I have one Ji, I got Jo. The equation that you have over here, right? Is there any Jo? There is no Jo, right? So I must replace this Jo with another function. It was given Jo is equal to what? L divided by R, right? Question. So I sub this Jo with L divided by R. It's become only function between the Ji, L, and L. So what I left is Ji minus L divided by R equal to A dl dt. Alright? This step to this step is only from 1 to 2, right? It's only I wanted to replace the Jo. So that my function is only two unknown. One is J, one is L, right? So whatever flow into the tank now will affect the tank level. So I have this one. Can? Okay, any question? If okay, I will move on. Right? As I always say, this one is a differentiation equation, but if I only use it, sometimes I need to compare it with a steady state condition. In our PCI, right, we always need to compare to a steady state condition. So how should I do? The entire equation itself, only this, and this will change. So if I wanted to introduce a steady state, I say the Ji now become Ji steady state. Level also becomes steady state. A is still the same, but my L becomes steady state. So I have another equation here. From equation 2 to 3, right, it's the same equation, but I create a steady state equation. Alright? Equation 2 is the generic equation for the flow rate plus the tank level. Equation 3 is this flow rate only happen during the steady state and the tank level only happen during the steady state. Okay? This is what I think many of you confused. Why I need to have this steady state? Because I wanted to compare the tank and the flow rate at the steady state. Alright? Just bear in mind, your mass balance give you the first equation. It's not good enough. You must create a steady state condition so you can minus that out. Once you use equation 2 minus 3, right? Remember equation 2 is what? Equation 2 is Ji, right? And then minus Ji steady state, you got Ji minus Ji steady state. Okay? And at the same time, the tank level also has to minus out compared to steady state. What is the tank level from equation 2? Tank level from equation 2 is L, right? R is something will not change. So L minus steady state give me L minus steady state R. This one is the second term, alright? And then the last part is only the inside here L, right? L minus steady state. So from equation 2 and 3, I create one condition, flow rate at the normal time minus flow rate at steady state equal to minus level minus steady state. And inside here also level minus steady state. Alright? Anyone has question on this part? Yes. Sorry? Say out. So we have what? Minus this minus become what? Plus, right? So if I arrange it become minus, if I multiply this become plus, right? Minus L plus. It's correct, right? You just try yourself. You will get to have this L minus LS. Alright? After this, whatever I minus out, right? I consider it with another unknown with a prime, which I call it deviation. So I have Ji equal to Ji minus JISS. L become L minus LSS. So if I sub this inside here, the same equation 3, I got Ji prime minus L prime R, and this one become L prime A and dt. Can? The what? This assume this one, right? It's good to write. If not, you will never know why you suddenly become a prime here. Because you are assuming Ji minus JISS, right? This one got an I here. Is actually referred to Ji prime, which is this one. And then the L prime is actually the tank level minus tank steady state. The entire purpose of having a prime here, right, is just to tell that this flow rate is referred to steady state. This level is referred to steady state. This level is referred to steady state. Until this equation itself, right, there is nothing special. It's all come from equation 2. But I just put difference condition. I put a steady state condition. I minus it out. I introduce another prime as my unknown. Then become this equation. Alright? So similarly for your other, let's say it's Q or what, you always remember after you do the mass balance, you need to create another alphabet with a prime on the top, which refer to the steady state condition. So from here, right, everyone had problem to get this one. Should be okay, right? Yes. What's your which part you confused? This one? This one? Which one? This one? All these are come from this one only, the mass in minus mass out. If you really don't understand this one, right, you just need to know that from equation 2, this one and L, I need to change it to steady state to get equation 3. Then I use 2 to minus 3. 2 to minus 3, I introduce a prime on the top, which will give me this one, finally. Okay? I can go through with you step by step after this, no worry. So once you have this equation already, J prime equal to A dL prime dt plus L divided by R, right? This equation itself is a differentiation equation, right? Only after this step, I need to start doing my Laplace. When I Laplace, this one become what? Laplace J become J, the capital Ji prime, right? And then Laplace for A dL dt become A is the same, right? dl dt become SL minus SL0. Right? And then the last part is what? Last one is L prime R. Small letter become capital letter. So from the previous equation, you Laplace, you get this. And the steady state condition, initial steady state. So L0 is 0. So this one is always 0. So after you sub this 0, this becomes J prime. ASL become ASL. And then L and R become L and R. I always tell you all, the bracket S, right, you can always ignore it because it's understood all this is in already Laplace format, alright? So what you have is Ji equal to ASL plus L divided by R. So after this is I combine. The purpose is I wanted to have L divided by Ji, right? So I have to combine the R here. R multiply here, I got R times AS. So ARS L prime plus L divided by R. This is just okay? Can I? So what next? I factor out the L prime. So what inside is ARS plus 1 divided by R. Alright? Then later, let me arrange L prime divided by J. So this multiply to this side become R. This multiply to this side become ARS plus 1. So if I say tau AR is tau, then R equal to K. The entire L divided by J equal to K divided by tau S plus 1 is proved. We wanted to prove this equation, right? This is what the question said. L prime divided by Ji prime equal to K divided by tau S plus 1. Never mind, later we stay back and I'll go through it again. This one is very super important. If you cannot get this right, please read your practical or please read your tutorial and please read your lecture notes. At least 20 marks for this type of question, right? So if you all cannot do, and I haven't even go to more difficult one, right? This one is only part 1. If you all really wanted to see the actual exam question, right? I haven't shown you. This one is the actual exam past year question, where your inlet and outlet is not given as one flow only, right? I don't want to scare you all with this one because we haven't finished. The important is you must be able to prove this one. If you cannot prove this one, no point for me to go further. This one at least 10 to more than 10 marks. I really cannot tell you. You have to prove this type of question at least. Okay? And this is only if it's the 10 level. Don't forget we have the change of the concentration. Right? So the first part of lecture notes, please read. If you cannot, then you can try to use the practical. Remember the practical, I give you all the helping hand, the one that I paste it on the whiteboard, ask you all to copy down how to prove the equation. It's similar concept, same thing. If you cannot understand your lecture note, you can refer to the practical. If you cannot understand, you try to understand this one. I will upload this one also. Alright? If I tell you all 10 times already, this has to, you at least need to prove it, right? If you all still don't want to prove, I cannot spoon feed too much. Alright? Right? Okay? And normally once you complete this one already, right, the question will not just stop there. What this question mean? What this first order transfer function mean? What is J and what is L? L is what? Huh? Huh? Length, okay? But if you look at the first order transfer function, right, normally the top is what? Output or input? Output, right? And this one is your input. K is your gain, tau is your time constant. And normally, the following question will change the input or output. Input, right? How many types of input I have? 4. We have 4 types of input, right? The first input is what? RAM and step, impulse, sinusoidals, right? And let's say I have a step change in here, which means what? Which means the flow rate change, right? The inlet flow rate, Ji is inlet flow rate. Sometimes you can see we use Q. Sometimes you can see we use F. So the alphabet itself is not important, but the understand of the formula is very important. So if I ask you, actually there is a second part of the question I forgot to show you because I see your first part is already very confused. Let's say we need to calculate K and tau. After we calculate K and tau, right? What is K here? K we have proven is actually R, right? Which is second part of the question. Let me see if I have it. Alright, if let's say second part of the question, I give you A equal to this, R equal to this. You need to calculate the tau, right? Tau is actually given by A multiplied R, which is 5 times 2. Let's say in this case is 10. Alright? And let's say the flow rate now change from 30 to 20. 20 is your steady state condition. Suddenly it's increased to 30. What happened is the Ji, right, the inflow compared to steady state is 10, right? This is what we call step, right? We step this is what your practical do. You step the flow from 20 to 30. So your Ji is 10. For a step input, when I do the transform, because this Ji itself is actually a small letter, right? I cannot use it in my transfer function. If you look at your transfer function, your Ji here is capital letter. So what you have here, the Ji is small letter. So you need to transform this one. So your input, you need to transform. So when you transform or Laplace it, this one, Ji prime become capital letter Ji prime. Laplace 10 become 10 divided by S. Okay? This is where I need to sub this one inside here. So your 10 level prime divided by 10 over S equal to, remember just now we proved this, R divided by tau S plus 1. So I just sub this Ji when I have a step input. Sub this one in, I got this equation. Right? The transfer function, normally the input will change. We will not test you on the output side. Let's say I change the input, and in this case, the input is step from 20 to 30. Then I have this. Alright? So what's next? If I multiply this one over here, I have a L prime equal to 10 divided by S, R divided by tau S plus 1. Okay? And question give you R equal to 2, so you just sub in L prime equal to this one. And later you get this L equal to 20 S 10 S plus 1. And tau is actually 10. Right? Because this is in the Laplace format, so I have to inverse it. When I inverse it, L become the capital letter back to L prime. And this side 20 is just a constant, so I do not inverse it. When I inverse this, 1 over s 10s plus 1, I have this one. Okay? So you can see that the level compared to the steady state, right, is now represented by this equation if I use the first order transfer function. Right? So if let's say I give you a time equal to 1 hour, you can know that the change of the tank level is 1.9. This is the entire complete question. Yes?
Can you go back one slide?
Which one? This one? Okay. Cannot? Yeah. One more? Okay. So if I quickly repeat, normally you do mass balance, then you link your equation to come out one generic one compared to a steady state. Introduce a prime. Once you have prime, Laplace it, then you change your input and put in input into the Laplace format, rearrange it and inverse it. So you must know how to Laplace, how to do mass balance, how to inverse. I promise I will not give you very complicated question. If you all can do this out question, I'm very happy already. Okay? You all still need to go through further or more difficult question? No, right? Remember your term test, how many questions you have?